Hello again, and welcome to our look at the upcoming August 22nd session. It is a Friday, and the economic calendar in front of you shows just how little in the way of economic announcements we can anticipate. Quite frankly, this is going to be an odd session, but let's go ahead and look at some of the announcements and then some of the charts. The CPI core comes out of Canada, just as the CPI itself. The core tends to be what people pay attention to the most, but you can look at either one of these numbers. Quite frankly, we feel that this is going to be very localized in the form of the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. And with that, we're paying attention to the top number, the 1.9 year-over-year core number, and the year-over-year CPI number. The monthly ones, although important, will take less precedence on the days when you have years. So that being said, looking at this could give us a little bit of a move in the Canadian dollar pair. We've seen 110 be very resistive in the past. If we can break out above there, we could go much higher. Very regionalized number, if you will. As you can see, we have other Canadian announcements, all of which are pretty much of low value. So really, we don't expect much. What's going to be tricky is that Janet Yellen speaks on labor markets in Jackson Hole, Wyoming at the symposium. As she speaks, that can and very easily could, maybe you could almost count on it, moving the market somehow. Problem is, you don't really know how. Most stock markets around the world, and especially in America, seem to be a little bit overbought at this point, so a little bit of a pullback's not a bad thing. The S&P 500 is pressing 2,000. If we can get above there, that turns into a buy and hold situation. Draghi speaks as well, probably with a little bit less effect, just simply because it'll be during North American trading, not European trading, so it's very likely that the Europeans won't be able to react to it. With that being said, you can see that the S&P 500 is parabolic by any measure. So really, even though we have made a fresh new high, it's been such a massive move higher. We really want to see a pullback. Again, though, if we get over 2,000, it's broken out. There's nothing you can do at that point but go long. It's not that we would sell this pullback. We just recognize that it needs to come. Hopefully, that will be the case, and it will allow us to pick up a little bit of value. You can see that the euro did pop a little bit during the session, but quite frankly, we're still below the 133 level. We still think that this market goes to 130. Given enough time, we are still very bearish on the euro, so we're looking for resistive candles right around 133 to perhaps start selling. Low priority trade, though, probably won't take it until Monday. Looking at the Canadian dollar, you can see that we are pressing up against 110. We pulled back during the session, but we're still only at 109.40. So that being the case, bad Canadian numbers really could put the Canadian dollar in the back foot, and a breakout above 110 sends this market to 112. Any pullback at this point in time should offer value somewhere closer to 1.09. So this might be a forex pair you want to watch during the session. And then finally, looking at the FTSE, you can see we had a positive session, but quite frankly, this is a market that needs a little bit of a pullback, much like the S&P 500. This could be a very quiet session, especially considering there are no economic announcements to move anything in Europe. So expect the FTSE to be very quiet. I suspect that we could grind in this general area for a little while and then maybe make the breakout instead of the pullback that we would prefer to see. That does happen from time to time. You just simply get some sideways action and then a continuation. Either way, though, not interested in selling, and quite frankly, wouldn't buy it here anyways. It's just far too rich at this point in time. With that, we've taken a look at the Friday, August 22nd trading session.